I'm pregnant. So at the time of filming this video, I'm actually gonna be 17 weeks tomorrow on November 11th. A little behind the ball on rolling these out. But when I first found out, I wanted to watch all of these videos just to kind of get a feel for like what should I be expecting during like the first trimester, second trimester, all the mesters. And I am a little bit under the weather, but that's also, I think, gonna be a symptom I include for the second trimester. And I just wanted to break it down like week by week what I was experiencing, because I will say overall first trimester wasn't awful, but I definitely experienced an assortment of symptoms, just not always at the same time. Like they were literally changing week to week. So if you didn't know, because this is my first baby, whenever they calculate your due date, it's from the date of your last menstrual cycle. So like weeks 0 through 2, you're not actually pregnant yet, but that is counted towards your pregnancy in the first trimester. So starting with week 3, this was my ovulation week, and I'm gonna make a whole other video about fertility and all of that because I did have a very special journey getting here that I am incredibly grateful for. But week 3 was when I noticed something I'd never seen before. It was a clear, stretchy discharge, and I've always seen that on the charts. If you Google it, like different discharge throughout your, menstrual cycle, that's always associated with ovulation. Well, I know when I'm ovulating, and I have never seen this type of discharge before. It was like, I literally can't explain it other than like Spider-Man, like egg white, like stretchy discharge, where I was like, hold up, I've never seen that in my life. Maybe this is the month. That was kind of my first little clue, but nothing other than that. Week 4, I had sore boobs, but that wasn't uncommon for me. I always have like sore boobs, usually about 4 days before my period. So I didn't really think anything of it. I wasn't gonna get my hopes up, but I did test positive at the end of that week, which was actually 4 days before my projected period. And that was super exciting. Week 5, I still had sore boobs. So that like continued basically, I'm looking, throughout the entire trimester, the first trimester, just sore boobs all day, every day. I think towards the last few weeks, it kind of tapered off, where some days it was okay, others, they were still sore. But your boobs are gonna grow a lot within that first trimester, and there's a lot of hormonal stuff going on, which I'll get into. So that definitely plays a part in it. So week 5 and week 6, so 2 weeks, I had crazy fatigue, like unable to do anything after work, which it also didn't help that I am a teacher and I was just then going back to school. So there was a lot of stuff going on, not just with that, but if you know, when you're a teacher, those first few weeks are rough. Like getting back in the groove of things. Like I was coming home and I couldn't even remember actually closing my eyes to fall asleep because I'd be going to sleep that quickly. Just couldn't do anything. I'd come home and go straight to bed, basically. So that was 2 weeks of that. Week 7, I still have my sore boobs, but I said energy is back, fooded versions. So between week 7 and the rest of my first trimester, so week 7 through 12, and I would still say a little bit even now, fooded versions in the sense of I'm someone that has always really craved like healthy food. Maybe I'm lucky in that sense, but I've always enjoyed eating healthy, more veggies than fruits even. Like I just enjoy vegetables. But week 7 hit and I'm like, that sounds disgusting. Okay, that sounds absolutely awful. The only thing I wanted was like carb heavy comfort foods, whether it was fast foods or just like mac and cheese. Like it didn't matter what it was, but it wasn't gonna be healthy. So about 5 weeks, I would say solid, I was eating out almost every day, or if I was eating from home, I was just like eating like chips or just not the healthiest choices. But I will say whenever you're pregnant, like eat what you can, baby, okay? Eat what you can because your body's just going through stuff. And ultimately, I always think about like your body knows what's best for you. I'm not saying my body's like, yes, girl, eat that candy, but like clearly there's something in it that I'm maybe needing. So So I just honor those cravings, and I know it's not gonna last, it's temporary. So 5 weeks, eating lots of comfort food, carb heavy, and that was the only thing I wanted. Like everything else just sounded disgusting, like wasn't here for it. I did say week 7, I was having nausea, but it was manageable. Like I've never thrown up throughout my entire pregnancy, but in that first trimester, I was getting nauseous here and there, usually at night, or if I went too long without eating, like in between meals. So it was always manageable. It wasn't like, oh, I hate my life. Like I really feel for some of these pregnant women that are throwing up constantly and can't keep anything down. I don't know how you do it, but like shout out to you, because I do feel really grateful that I've had a pretty, I would say, mild experience with pregnancy thus far. I also put week 7, there's a lot going on here, constipation started. I am someone that is very regular, at least every day, if not multiple times a day, and I was going days in between pooping, basically. I mean, we're all here. We all know what we're talking about right now. And that was really hard because I was having a lot of bloating as a result, and it was uncomfortable. I'm not used to not being regular, and really, I guess, on the end, feeling that efficiency in your body, because when you're backed up, like you're bloated, you just feel gross, you feel uncomfortable, like it's just not great. But that did stick around for a little bit. I also put that week 7, I had mood swings at the beginning of the week, mild cramping and twinges. I did look into that because I'm like, am I supposed to be feeling that? Like what's going on here? And it did say that it's normal. It's like your uterus growing. Like within the first trimester, your uterus literally doubles in size, preparing for that baby that's like little bitty at that time, which is so crazy. I definitely recommend getting an app. I have, it's called Avia Pregnancy, and it has been really accurate in telling me like kind of what to expect week by week. But yeah, the twinges and cramping are normal. I will say that the first trimester is kind of like you're holding your breath the whole time. Like you're really happy, right, that you're experiencing this baby, but knowing that miscarriages are common, you're kind of holding your breath the whole time. Like I remember anytime I went to the bathroom and like, you know, pulled my pants down to go to the bathroom, I'm looking at my underwear to see if I'm bleeding and stuff like that. So I will say there's that kind of mentally that you're dealing with of like, oh, you're just trying to hold on to this pregnancy and baby for dear life. So I will also say around this time, week 8, week 9 is when you'll probably have your first doctor's appointment, which I think is kind of crazy because you've already been pregnant for a few weeks and you could have been doing all sorts of things that you weren't supposed to do, which I'm gonna make a video about. But that first appointment is so important because that's when you get to hear if there's a heartbeat or not. So it will give you a sense of peace if you do get to hear that beautiful heartbeat, and you're still not out of the woodworks after that, because once you make it to the end of your first trimester, the chances of miscarriage are less than 1%. So I just remember like really holding my breath throughout that whole first trimester of not wanting to like mess anything up. Before I got pregnant, like those first 2 weeks, 0 to 2, I had just started working out again. I don't know if that attributed to me being able to get pregnant. I don't know. But once I got super fatigued, I stopped working out. And then when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, now's not the time to pick that up. I need to get through this first trimester. So that's just what I did, of just being extra careful, because first trimester is when miscarriages happen that sometimes can be caused by your actions and what you're doing in your life. So it's just something to think about. I did put week 8 and 9, sore boobs, still 1 to 2 days, still carb heavy cravings, constipation, and gas. However, at the end of week 9, and basically from 9 to 12, or about 10 to 12, at least like 2.5 weeks, I was incredibly depressed. And I was not ready for that symptom. Like, I feel like you hear about people talk about postpartum depression, very common. It's becoming like this thing that's not so taboo, that like we're bringing more awareness to, but no one talks about being pregnant and getting depression then. And there's a specific word for that. You can Google it, whatever. And I just wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know that was gonna be a thing. I didn't know that was gonna be a thing. And that was really, really hard to get through. Like, one thing that made it easier was knowing like, I'm like this because I am pregnant and there's hormones going on that I do not have control over. However, it still sucks when you're in it. Like, I just did not feel like myself. It wasn't just like, oh, my energy's low, I'm tired. It was like, I'm waking up at the beginning of the day and just like feeling sad. Like, that's all I can really describe it. And I've had periods of depression in my life before, but never been on medication. And it was honestly to the point, especially at the end of my 12 weeks, where I was like, when I go see my doctor next, I'm gonna have to tell her, because like, it wasn't something I was really wanting to get put on medication for. But at the same time, I was like, if this continues the entire pregnancy, like, this is going to be bad. But I was like, maybe going to start therapy or something, because I was getting put on medication wasn't really something I wanted to do, because basically anything you take or eat or ingest, your baby's getting exposed to it too. So I was going to talk to my doctor about it at my next appointment, which was actually at 13 weeks. But luckily, once I hit that 13th week, which I'll talk about in the next video more, I like started feeling like myself. So that was amazing, because it kind of took care of itself. But that was really, really hard. So just know, if you're going through that, definitely talk to your doctor, but also be wary of just being prescribed stuff. Like, there's obviously other options like therapy and things like that. And that was kind of the path I was gonna start going down if things didn't clear up after that first trimester. I think the first trimester is like, do what you gotta do to push through it, and just know, usually for most people, that second trimester is a much easier, smoother ride once your hormones level out and just your body kind of readjusts to its new normal. But that is it. I really hope this kind of helped y'all. Again, every single video I watched of these, they're so different. Like, everyone's pregnancy journey is really different. Oh, I did want to mention one thing. Week 12, literally on the dot, is when I started showing. I wasn't showing a lot, but it was definitely like, you're pregnant. You know what I mean? And it kind of freaked me out at first, because people like to comment on it and they're like, oh wow, I didn't start showing until like the end of my second trimester, or well after my first trimester. And I was just like, okay, you know, like, am I like, it's nothing I can control, but it just made me feel like abnormal, like that other people weren't showing as quickly as I was. A lot of it has to just do with how you're built. I am like kind of a smaller, petite person, and I do have a short torso, but literally week 12 is when, like, overnight, just like belly kind of appeared. Belly was popping. And I'll put a little photo in for y'all so y'all can see that. But yeah, just know, everyone's experience is different, and there's no normal, really, because everyone's is so different, few and far between. Everyone's hormones are different, everyone's bodies are different. So just don't let that get to you, because that was something that luckily I had my sister to rely on, who had already been through 3 pregnancies and is a doctor, that was like, don't even worry about it. Like, there is no normal. And that really helped me. So I hope this helped you, and hopefully next time when I film, I won't sound sick. But I hope you have a wonderful day.